My name's Daniel Rowe. I've been a forest ranger in Montana for 12 years. I've seen avalanches, wildfires, even a grizzly bear that wandered into a campsite once. I've seen things that would make most people swear off the woods forever. But nothing prepared me for what happened inside Black Hollow. Black Hollow isn't on most maps anymore. It's a dense patch of forest tucked between two old mining trails, the kind of place locals warn you not to go near after dark. When I was a kid, I used to hear stories about it. Hunters who vanished, whispers in the wind, trees that seemed to move when you weren't looking. I always thought they were just campfire tales, until the call came through my radio on October 5, 2018. A man named Paul Hensley had gone missing. He was a seasoned hunter, not some rookie hiker. His wife said his last GPS ping came from the edge of Black Hollow. Nobody wanted to volunteer for the search, so I did. When I got there, everything felt wrong. The air was colder, the light dimmer, even though it was barely noon. The forest was so quiet it hurt my ears. No birds, no wind, just silence. I marked my trail with orange tape and hiked in. About a mile in, I found his camp. Tent still standing. Rifle leaned against a stump. Coffee mug still half full, cold, and gathering flies. It looked like he'd just stood up and walked away mid-drink. Then I saw the footprints. Paul's heavy boots leading away from the camp, and beside them another set. Bare feet. Deep impressions in the mud as if whoever or whatever it was weighed as much as he did. The deeper I went, the darker it got. My radio crackled with static. My compass spun like crazy. Even my GPS glitched, showing me looping back on myself. By sunset, I had no signal, no bearings, and a gut feeling telling me I wasn't alone. I set up my tent near a ridge and built a small fire. That's when I heard it, the breathing. Slow, steady, right outside my tent. I held my breath. The breathing stopped. Then something began scratching the fabric of my tent. Long, slow, deliberate strokes like fingernails on canvas. I whispered, "Paul? That you?" Silence. Then footsteps, barefoot, circling the tent. I grabbed my flare gun, unzipped the flap, and fired. The red light flooded the trees, and there, just beyond the firelight, stood a figure. Tall, thin, head tilted slightly, eyes reflecting the flare like an animal's, but intelligent. Too intelligent. It didn't run. It just watched me, then turned and melted into the dark like it was never there. That night I didn't sleep. At dawn, I found claw marks on nearby trees. 5 long scratches, each at my shoulder height. And more footprints circling my camp, like it had been walking around me all night. A mile further, I found Paul's backpack. Inside, his hunting knife, some bullets, and a notebook. The last few pages looked like they were written in a hurry. It keeps calling my name, not out loud inside my head. I think it looks like me. It's waiting for me to see it. It knows I can see it. After that, the trail went cold. Around noon, I felt something watching me again. Every hair on my neck stood up. I turned and froze. There it was, standing about 30 feet away. Same height, same build, same ranger uniform, but the face, it was mine. My eyes, my jawline, my expression. Tilted its head the same way I did. Moved when I moved. A perfect reflection, but hollow. Empty. I stumbled backward and fired another flare, and just like before, it vanished. By the second night, I was lost. Every direction led back to Paul's empty tent. The orange tape I'd marked on the trees was gone. My compass still spun uselessly. That's when I noticed the carvings. My name scratched into tree bark. Over and over. Dozens of them. Some fresh. Some so old they'd healed into the wood. Then I saw movement between the trees. Dozens of figures standing motionless, just beyond the fog. Each one different, some wearing ranger jackets, some hiking gear, some just silhouettes. But their faces were blank, smooth, featureless like carved wood. And behind them, in the center of the clearing, was me, or what looked like me. It smiled. A twisted, broken version of my smile, and whispered in my voice, "You came back." The air turned colder. The trees groaned like they were alive. My flashlight flickered. I ran. I don't remember much after that. Just flashes, branches clawing my face, my boots hitting the dirt, something chasing me in the dark. When I woke up, I was in the ranger station infirmary. They said I'd been missing for 5 days. I had mild hypothermia, dehydration, and no memory of how I got out. Paul Hensley was never found. His wife moved away 6 months later. Official reports called it psychological trauma and exposure-induced hallucination. If you've ever camped alone deep in the woods, you know that silence can be louder than any noise. I've spent years hiking and camping solo, but nothing prepared me for what happened in Red Pine Forest. They say the woods remember everything. I didn't believe that, not until they remembered me. It was late September when I drove up into the highlands of Oregon. The map called it Red Pine, a dense stretch of forest near the abandoned mill sites from the 1930s. I signed in at the ranger post like always, told them I'd be gone for 3 days. The ranger, an older man named Harlan, gave me a long look before saying, "If you're going up the ridge, stay west. The east woods don't like company." I laughed, figured it was just local superstition. Big mistake. By late afternoon, I'd reached my spot, a small clearing surrounded by towering red pines. The air was sharp, the sky dimming fast. I set up camp, lit a small fire, and listened to the forest breathe. For a while it was peaceful, until around midnight, I heard it, breathing, not wind, not an animal, slow, deep, rhythmic human, just beyond the tree line. I froze inside my tent, holding my breath. The sound stopped when I turned on my flashlight. I told myself it was my imagination, until the next morning, when I found footprints in the pine needles.
Bare footprints.
Small ones, like a child's. They circled my tent twice, then vanished into the woods. That morning I decided to move further west. The ranger's warning echoed faintly in my head. By sunset, I came across another clearing. Something about it felt wrong. The trees were warped and darkened, like they'd been burned years ago. And on a fallen log, someone had carved 4 words into the bark. "Do not answer them." I didn't sleep much that night. At first, it was whispering soft, almost too low to notice. Then louder, circling my tent. "You shouldn't have come here. He's still here." I gripped my flashlight, but I couldn't move. And then, right beside my ear, a voice so close I could feel its breath. "We never left." I didn't move until dawn. When I finally stepped outside, my lantern was burning, but I hadn't lit it. The air felt heavy, thick with something I couldn't describe. I packed up and started walking west. After 5 hours of hiking, I ended up right back in that same clearing. Same burned trees, same carved log, and there, at the edge of it, stood a massive red pine, its bark carved with hundreds of small faces. At its roots sat a small wooden box. Inside, wrapped in cloth, was a child's doll. The moment I touched it, the forest changed. The wind died, the light dimmed, the air turned cold enough to sting. And then a whisper, deep and trembling, "Put it back." I looked up, and standing behind the tree was a pale figure. Thin, tall, eyes hollow, staring right at me. Then gone. That night, the forest came alive. The sky turned red. The air filled with humming, like the trees themselves were breathing. And through that crimson light, I saw them, dark shapes between the trunks, moving but not walking, whispering. My whole body felt numb as the voices grew louder, overlapping in 1,000 tones. "You are part of it now. You are part of it now." I woke up at sunrise, if it was even sunrise. Every tree around me was covered in black handprints. Hundreds of them. I ran. Hours later, I stumbled onto an old ranger cabin half-collapsed near the creek. Inside were photos lining the walls. Campers, hikers, smiling with their tents, their gear, their fires. And in the background of every photo, a pale figure with hollow eyes. The radio on the desk flickered with static, then a voice crackled through. "This is Ranger Harlan. Whoever's out there, get out before dusk." Then it went dead. 2 days later, I made it back to the station. Harlan was waiting on the porch. He took one look at me, pale, shaking, covered in mud, and said quietly, "You saw them, didn't you?" He told me about the fire of 1937, a logging accident that burned through half the eastern ridge. No one ever found the workers. Locals believed the fire trapped them, body and soul, in the forest that grew back over the ashes. "They whisper," he said, "because they don't know they're dead. That's why the East Woods don't like company." I left Red Pine that day and swore I'd never go back. It was early October when I decided to take a solo camping trip into the timberline forest of Washington. I'd been feeling trapped by city life. Screens, noise, people, and I wanted silence. Just me, the fire, and the trees. The locals in town gave me the usual warnings when I stopped for supplies. "Don't go too deep," the old clerk at the gas station said, not meeting my eyes. "Past Timberline Creek, weird things happen." I laughed it off. Every forest has its stories. By late afternoon, I'd hiked 4 miles into the woods. The air was cold and damp. I found a perfect clearing by the creek and set up my tent. I remember the quiet. Too quiet. Even the birds went still after sunset. Around 10 p.m., as I sat by the fire sipping coffee, I heard something. Not footsteps, more like dragging. Slow. Heavy. Leaves crunching. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the trees. Nothing. Just fog rolling in thicker than I'd ever seen. Then came the smell, like wet iron and soil. Metallic. It made me gag. I killed the fire, thinking maybe it was an animal carcass nearby. But the smell grew stronger. At midnight, I crawled into my tent. The forest was dead silent except for the creek. I must have dozed off because I woke to a soft rustling sound, right outside my tent, like someone running their fingers along the fabric. I froze. The air inside the tent was icy cold. Then I heard it whispering, a low, raspy voice, so close it felt like it was breathing against the fabric. I couldn't understand the words. It wasn't English, just sounds, like murmuring through water. I unzipped the tent slowly and shined the light out. The fog was thick, almost glowing white under the beam. And that's when I saw it. A shape tall, thin, maybe 8 feet. Its limbs were wrong, too long. Its fingers dragging along the wet ground. The skin looked pale gray, like ash. It had no eyes, just dark, hollow sockets that seemed to suck in the light. I couldn't move. I just sat there, half inside the tent, staring. The thing tilted its head, the sound of bones cracking, and started whispering again, this time louder. My light flickered once, then died. I ran. I don't even remember grabbing anything. I just sprinted toward the trail, branches whipping my face. Behind me, I could hear it, the dragging sound again, closer, faster. At some point, I tripped and hit the ground hard. When I looked back, the fog had swallowed everything. But I swear, I saw a hand, long gray fingers clutching a tree trunk, before it faded completely. By the time I reached my car, dawn was breaking. My entire campsite was gone when I went back with the rangers the next day. The tent, the fire pit, even my backpack gone. Like no one had ever been there. The ranger looked at me strangely when I told him what I saw. He didn't laugh. He just said, "You're not the first one." Apparently, over the last 10 years, hikers had reported the whispering thing near Timberline Creek. Always the same story. Fog, dragging steps, and the smell of iron. I haven't gone camping since. But sometimes, when fog rolls into town late at night, I swear I still hear that faint whispering, right outside my window.